Hi everyone, this is Lisa Cronin from It's the Little Things in Card Making, and I'm back playing with the foil quill pens. I was a little disappointed when I was making my last card and I was struggling trying to transfer the foil onto the acetate. So I thought there had to be a better way, and I don't know what I did wrong or if I did something wrong, so I decided to play a little bit. And I also was chatting with someone online who is trying to figure out the best way to transfer foil onto her projects. So we did some back and forth talking, and she made some suggestions, and I'm going to try one of them out. What I am going to do is I am going to use the same foil, and this is the We Are Memory Keepers foil, and it's the same foil on 3 different materials. Tissue paper that you would wrap inside a gift or a gift bag. I thought to myself, that might work better. It's thinner than tracing paper. I'm also going to try tracing paper. And then a suggestion that Pauline made. Her name is Pauline Purdum, and I'll give that information of her website below. And she suggested carbon paper. I didn't even know they made carbon paper anymore, but they do. And I have a piece of it here. What I am going to try to transfer the foil onto is 110-pound Nina cardstock, kind of a thinner acetate piece, a thicker acetate piece, a piece of vellum, 40-pound, a piece of gold matte cardstock, very thick. I'm going to say 100 pounds, and 65-pound black Nina. And I want to see which way, what kind of tracing material would yield the best result. That's what I want to see. I'm also going to be using my metal shim and remembering back to 5th grade, which was quite a long time ago, and remembering about heat being conducted with metal. And I said, I guess We Are Memory Keepers did the right thing when they made the metal platform to do the foiling on, because metal gets hot, and that could only help with the transferring. So I got to give it to them there. Okay, so we're going to start. So I'm going to do the carbon last because it can get a little dirty, and I don't want to do anything that's going to impede the transfer of the foil. So first I'm going to try with tissue paper, and take a note that it's very, very thin. You can see right through it, which is a good and bad thing. But since it's so thin and I stamped on it, I waited about 15 minutes for the ink to dry, feeling that if I went over it too soon, because it's so thin, it would start falling apart. And it may still start falling apart. I don't know. But, so I have my foil attached to the back. I'm going to put it on the Nina first. And we're going to know, I'm just going to start. So I'm using not a gentle, but not a lot of pressure. The paper seems to be holding up. This may just be a one-time thing. I don't know if we could. That's a pretty good impression. And I'm using the second largest nib. But that was a good impression. And TISS lets us know this was through the tissue paper. That came out really good. The next one I'm going to use is the tracing paper. And again, the foil is behind it. And I am just going to... I'm using about the same pressure, or I'm trying to use around the same pressure, same speed. And let's see what kind of an impression this gives us. Okay, not bad. I'm going to say about the same. So that's a good thing. And now we're going to use the carbon paper, but we have to use the carbon paper a little different. I'm not going to put it on my paper. I'm going to put it here. Because what I want to do is first, I want to transfer the word onto the carbon paper. I'm sorry, onto the foil. So I'm using a pen to do that. I'm not using the hot foil pen. I'm using a regular ballpoint pen. And I am just going to gently trace over the letters. Okay. So that should give us the letters on the foil. And it does. And I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, you can see it. Now, what I'm hoping is when I did this, I didn't take any foil off of the back, and it looks like it's intact. So now I'm just going to go straight from the foil onto my paper. So now what we're doing is we're going to foil right on top of the foil. And let's see if by going directly on, if we get a better result. It's a little difficult to see, but okay. It's okay. Let's see how it does on the other pieces. Okay. We are now going to try it on. Maybe I shouldn't use the gold card. You won't really see it. Okay. I'll use a piece of silver. This paper is a little thinner. This is a little thinner than cardstock. And we're going to try it on there. Again, I'm doing it on the metal. And I'm going to start off with the tissue paper. And now I know I've already taken, from the first line, I've already taken the foil off. So I'm going to do the second line. And just going to go and follow it again. Okay. I don't know if you could see it. It's there. It came out okay, but the glare from the lights, can't really see it. And because it's so thin, this paper, pen didn't really get into it, so maybe a thicker paper would work better. Okay, so that was the tissue paper. Let's try the tracing paper. And again, I'm not going to use the first line. I'll use the second line. And trying to use the same amount of pressure and the same amount of speed. So, the tracing paper. Put a little more light. Maybe if I put more light. will neutralize it. Will make it worse. Okay. Now we're going to try with the carbon paper. And again, like I said, we need to use our pen. And I am going to do the second line on this. So that transferred, that image transferred right here. And now I'm going to take the tracing paper, the foil paper, lay it down, and directly foil on top of the foil. Better impression. So the tracing paper and the tissue paper does impede the heat, I think, from going through. The carbon paper works really well. There's positives and negatives with both, though. And I'll explain that when we're done. Now I'm going to try it on vellum. And I'm going to go with the tissue paper first. I'm going to go on the third line. Okay, came out good. Now we're going to try the tracing paper. Again, the third line. Okay, kind of a lighter transfer. Can you see that? So obviously the thinner paper is going to transfer the foil better. Now let's do the carbon. And we're on the third one. So you can see the imprint of the pen. I'm going to put it down on my vellum. And I am going to trace the image. Okay. And there's the result of the carbon. I think it's equal to the tissue paper, actually. But we'll take a closer look later. Okay. Now I'm going to try the heavy acetate. And I'm going to start with the tissue paper. And I'm only going to write on the fourth line, because I decided to throw another piece of acetate in. This is thicker. The other one's thinner. I want to see if there's a difference. Transferred okay. wanted to only write TI. Okay. Alright, I'll figure something out. Now the tracing paper. Again, 4th line. And again, I'm trying to stay with the same amount of pressure. Oh, that didn't come out so good. You see that? Now we're going to try it with the carbon. And again, I have to first transfer. Oh, for those that don't know what carbon paper is, it's like, it looks like black chalky paper. That's carbon paper. Okay, so I'm going to transfer the image from the carbon paper onto the foil. And then I'm just going to take the image, it's there, it's light, but it's there, and then put it down on the heavy acetate and just trace out the letters. Okay, it's better. It's better, but you know, I have a feeling that the thickness of the acetate does make a difference. So I am going to try the tissue paper on this acetate, and I'm gonna go over this. Yeah, okay, much better. So this is the thicker acetate here. This is the thinner acetate. I think depending upon how thick the acetate is would determine how much of the foil is going to go into it. I mean, that's what I'm seeing here. Now I'm going to do the tracing paper. And we're down on the 5th one, the last line. Ooh, ooh, not so good. I should do this. Not so good. It's kind of broken up and not so good at all. Tissue paper was much better. Okay, let's try the carbon on a thinner acetate piece. Okay, that's better. That's better. Huh. Now, I didn't know if, never mind. Never mind. I'm just going to try the tissue paper on the black so we can just say, and I'm just going to write the word pen. Okay, all good. And that was the tissue paper. So I'm just going to write tissue here so we know. Okay. Then I'm going to take the tracing paper And pretty much do the same thing. I'm going to write the word pen. I'm going to... Ooh, look at that. Not as good. Not as good. Tissue paper was so much better. Now, carbon paper. First, what we have to do is we have to transfer the letters onto the carbon paper. Well, let's see how it goes. Looks like some of the foil was taken off here, but I think we can kind of get around that. I think it's pretty close to the tissue. What do you think? All right, the pros and cons. All right, the pros are you can really see through the tissue paper very well. The cons is wetting it with ink, so if we stamp an image on it and we want to trace it, we have to wait quite a while for the paper to dry, and still you don't know if the paper is going to fall apart when you're doing your transferring. So that's the negative. The positive is it's really, really cheap. I mean, really cheap. The tracing paper didn't really do so well. But yet it did well when I was working with it. I'm not really sure why that is. Maybe I'm just seeing a better result with the tissue paper. So now all of a sudden my tracing paper idea doesn't look as good. You know what you got, but you don't know what you're gonna get. Well, now I see we can get better. Carbon paper, brilliant. Brilliant, thank you, Pauline. Problem with carbon paper is it's expensive. Surprisingly so. It is expensive. And it could be dirty. So even though it makes the transfer somewhat easier and it gives us a really good result, when you work with carbon paper, you can get it on your hands. And when you're working with ultra white cardstock or even beige cardstock, I mean, I'm sure we can erase it off. Well, let's see. Can we erase it off? And I will use this eraser here. Nope. Let me see if I can find my other erasers. They should be right here, which they're not. Yeah, so by using the carbon paper, there's a higher chance of kind of soiling what you're working on. And I really wish I could find my eraser. I was in the process of cleaning my craft room today. Yeah, so I wanted to do this. I wanted to see what would work best, because I want to use these pens more, but I do want a better result. I want an easier way to do it. So I thought I would do this little test. And if you want to check out Pauline's channel, I'll have that information. So she gave me the idea of the carbon paper, which I said is excellent. Again, you just have to worry about keeping your hands clean and don't transfer carbon onto whatever you're working with. I believe her art is a little different. She works with polymer clay. And I want to thank you for stopping in. I hope this was helpful. I think it was helpful to me. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. We got to figure out a way. There has to be a better way. Thank you for stopping in. If you like the work I do, press like, subscribe, comment. You know, I'm here trying my best and having fun while I'm doing it. So thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for stopping in. And remember, it's the little things in card making. You take care now. Bye.